Hey folks, trying several times to put something like this together. Let's hope this comes out good. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different, a little belated, but it's still the same week, so it counts. I'm going to do a response video to a Top 3 Tuesday video. For those of you who don't know what that is, there's a guy on YouTube named EdT1138 who every Tuesday holds a little Top 3 Tuesday thing where some random person from YouTube would show up and ask people what their top 3 items are. And then you would have comments responding to this video, video responses, good times had by all, so to speak. So, this past week's Top 3 Tuesday question was sent in by the Atari 7800 Junkie, who also does nice stuff and started doing stuff on a regular basis. So I'm going to leave a description and leave a link to both of their channels. Do check them out, they do nice work. But anyways, the top 3 in question is, what are your top 3 games that you play on Atari hardware? Whether it be retro consoles like the Atari 2600 or 5200 or 7800, or more obscure consoles like the Atari Jaguar. Is it Atari Jaguar? Anyways. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. In addition to naming my top 3, by which I mean there's no countdown, I'm not placing anything in 3rd place or 2nd place or 1st place. It's 3 items that I've chosen in no particular order, but they're the ones that I play the most whenever I put in my Atari 7800. So I guess that counts as a top 3. But I'll also toss in 3 honorable mentions. In fact, we'll start with the honorable mentions right now. Honorable mention number 1 is Tron Deadly Discs. It's based on the Disney movie of the late 80s, early 80s, the 1980s. Let's go with a more general term. You're in control of Tron, you shoot deadly discs at other enemies who throw their own deadly discs at you. It's a simple, basic concept, but loads of fun to be had. And it's a childhood favorite. One of the earliest games I've had for the 7800, because the 7800 was all I had when I was a kid, before I got Nintendo. Never had a 2600, but I had a bunch of games for it, but whatever. Next honorable mention is Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, the classic Parker Brothers game where you control a lone rebel snowspeeder that has to face off against an infinite supply of AT-AT Imperial walkers. No harpoons, no Jedi powers, only a laser to take down walkers in 40 hits. And with the luck of a draw, you also have a magic pixel that appears on the armor. You shoot it, it goes down. Again, very basic, very repetitive gameplay, but somehow has enough that it makes it fun for hours on end. And if a game can do that, keep you entertained for hours on end, then it clearly does its job. So that's my second honorable mention. And finally, my last honorable mention is actually a game for the Atari 7800. It's the Dangerously Devious Xevious. This is another game that harkens back to my early years. This was the first version of Xevious I've ever played. It's responsible for me enjoying Xevious in its various incarnations. Anyways, the reason this is not in my top 3 is because I want to try and find a 2-button controller to play this. You could play this with a 1-button controller, it just fires the bombs and the lasers at the same time. But I want to play this the right way, and I want to try and get my hands on a 2-button controller, which is turning out a lot more difficult than I had hoped. In any case, let's go to my top 3 games, and again, this is in no particular order. So the first game on the list of my top 3 is for 2600 Demon Attack from iMagic. Basic premise is demons attack. Demons are attacking. You attack back. Demons split into 2. Demons swoop down on you. Demons later have tracking lasers that you could move around. Pretty fun game for the most part. Kept me entertained, and there's also a unique 2-player alternating mode that brings new meaning to the term 2-player alternating, where both players take control of one ship and control alternates between 2, which is really nice, unique feature, and one I wish was implemented in more games, especially today. That's gonna be good times had by all. Second game on my list of top 3 is a bit of a cheat, but the hell with it, I'm gonna go with it. It's a homebrew cartridge that I got last October, and it's the Pac-Man collection. And the Pac-Man collection takes the Atari 7800 version of Ms. Pac-Man, already a great, excellent conversion of that arcade game, and adds more stuff to it. Basically, you could play the original Pac-Man arcade game on this cartridge, which, if you wanted to play Pac-Man on the 7800, you had to settle for the 2600 version way back when the 7800 was brand spanking new. And aside from that, you also have a bunch of other mazes. You have a bunch of options such as speed boosts and Pac-Man Plus mode, where they make the game a bit harder by changing the effectiveness of your power pellets, making the maze invisible, making the ghost invisible, that sort of thing. And it's a really, a fun, packed cartridge. Like, it's a bit pricey, sure, $30 might be pricey for some, but it's value for money. And to me, it's like probably if something like this had come across the 7800 back when it was, still active, would have been a nice thing to have. And it's a color label. I think the printing, the budget that went into the printing of the labels in the manual is more than the entire division of the Atari 7800 back in the day, because apparently Jack Tramiel, or whoever you're supposed to pronounce his name, is a cheap bastard, or whatever the case may be, but I digress. And finally, the last game on my top 3 is Joust for the Atari 7800. Joust is one of my all-time favorite games ever, and the Atari 7800 version of Joust is one of my all-time favorite versions of Joust, and I've played a number of versions of Joust. I own a couple versions. I have the Game Boy Color version, which is actually not a bad version of Joust. I have the NES version, which the less said about that, the better. The 7800 version of Joust, I think, somehow, even back in the day, captures the feel of Joust. It's hard for me to explain, but, it feels like I feel at home playing Joust on the 7800 than I do on the NES or the Game Boy Color. It just manages to capture that arcade feel in little details, in a way that, the NES version did not. And, yeah, I'd go into more detail, but I think I already did a couple times before, so. But, yeah, those are my top 3 Atari games that I like to play more often than not. And these are my 3 honorable mentions. And, that's going to do it for me, so until next time, take care. I'm going to go for lunch. Yeah, I usually say I go to bed, but I'm actually doing this in the morning, so yeah. Anyways, thanks a lot, take care, see you later.